Welcome back to the I Jupiter podcast. I'm your host, Tom Franklin, and this week we have on a psychic medium. This is Jamie Harvey. She contacted me through my email, which is very interesting. I have a few who do that. If you guests would like to come on and do that, if you'd like to come on, you can contact me through Facebook, the I Jupiter Facebook group. You can contact me through my email at the I of Jupiter podcast at gmail.com. Eventually, I will remember that. I Thanks each one of you who have subscribed to the channel. I'm at 761. And if you would like to do so, please do so now and subscribe to the channel. And I will be bringing you content. We're going to be talking with, I have on someone who wrote a Bigfoot book. I have quite a few different guests coming up. A lot of interesting stuff. I'm going to be having a live with it was like a murder podcast or something like that. We're going to get into all kind of stuff, and it's very interesting. At least for me, because a lot of things like a psychic medium, I do not know much about. So we're going to ask her. And what else? You can find me on Rumble. You can find me on Spotify. And don't be afraid to go down and click the PayPal and send me a little bit of something so I can upgrade my equipment here, so I can bring you the best quality product that I possibly can. So with all that out of the way, a little housekeeping there. Please welcome to the I Jupiter podcast, Mrs. Jamie Harvey.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Jamie. For those who do not know, this is me pushing the record button because for some reason it didn't record. I did see in the corner that they're saying they're having heavy traffic, I guess, over at the StreamYard. So I'm thinking maybe that's what happened to us. No big deal. You were telling me you were from Asheville, North Carolina. That's where you're at. Yeah. Sorry about that, the little flub there. So, for the uninitiated people who do not know you, please tell the listeners of the iJuber podcast a little bit about yourself and where we can find you.
Yeah, okay. So, hello, I'm Jamie, not Mrs., just Ms. Just me. And I live here in Asheville. I have two kids. They're all grown up now. They're in their 20s, and I have a cat and a dog. And I have like a Jamie 1 and a Jamie 2. And so basically Jamie 1 is just a very regular, logical thinking, um, goody two shoes, did everything she was supposed to do. And then I had a near death experience. And the before me, the Jamie 1, had no real psychic abilities or anything like that. Jamie 2, this version now, like I'm just tapped in a way that I wasn't before. And so I am what's known as a walk-in, which is a little different and weird. A lot of people haven't heard of it. I hadn't heard of it initially. I had to do some research to figure out what was going on with me. But my website is jamiethewalkin.com. So JamietThewalkin.com. And it's just a way to connect with me. So 2.5 years ago, so on January 6, 2022, I was in a relationship that I was not supposed to stay in that relationship. It was unhealthy for me. And a couple of days prior, I knew for sure that I needed to leave. And I was never really a church-going person at all. If you had asked me, I would have said I was agnostic. Just, I don't know. Who knows? Nobody can know. But the day that a couple of days before, so I guess it was January 4th, I took a hike to the top of a mountain. There was no trail that I followed or anything like that. I just felt led to go to the top of the mountain. And I really communed with God in that moment, which was different for me. It was not something, and now my cat is up here.
Now you're talking my language, Jamie. I'm just excited about what you just said.
Okay.
I'm moving some stuff so I can move my chair forward.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, and when I start talking about this stuff, like depending on the audience, different people resonate with different things. And so for me, I call source or universe, for me, is God. And so that's the way I talk about it.
That's the me and you are on the same page of the same dictionary, so go for it.
Okay.
I've been there too.
Okay. Okay, good.
I swear.
I believe it. So, which is the whole reason I started telling my story is because I felt so alone. I felt like I didn't know that anyone else in the whole wide world would ever be able to understand what happened to me. And it became something that was like a source of shame for me a little bit, until I decided to claim sorry, until I decided to like claim my story and say like,
Hmm.
no, authentically, this is who I am, leave it or take it. And what I found is the more I tell my story, the more I connect with people who also have very similar stories or are searching for other people who've had stories like this, because people want to experience the divine. I think it's why we're here.
Yes.
Be with the divine, to be separated from the divine, and can we make it back? And it's your own personal journey back to the divine is what I found. And for me, I found I was with God on that mountain, and I knew that it was getting I knew it was getting close to like sundown, because it was in January. So like by 5 o'clock, 5:30, the sun would be
Right.
going dark, except I had this overwhelming sense of peace on top of that mountain, that it did not matter how long it needed for me to like get it all out and like just say, God, these are all of the things that I can't handle anymore. And I need help. Like I can't do it on my own.
Okay.
And when I did, it was like time stood still. I really, I can't explain it. And until you've gone through it, is this the Matrix? Is this a simulation? Is this a prison planet? I have no idea. But what I can tell you for real, what I know for sure is that God is real, and that
Yeah.
all experiences are leading us to that. And some people need really positive experiences to get them there. And some people need to be knocked in the head over and over and over. And that's where I was. Like,
Me too.
I had tried so hard to do all the right things. Like I got married, I had children, I'm a school teacher, like all these right things. That I was so empty and sad inside and depressed. I had been on antidepressants. I'd recently had it up. I had gone through a really sad divorce. And my kids are very angry with me. And the person I'd been dating, it was not good. And it was like all of these things, it was
Yeah,
just
man.
one after the other. And, there's that saying, God doesn't give you more than you can handle, but maybe,
Maybe.
maybe he gives you just the right amount that you can't handle so that you break, so that you ask for help. So that's what happened to me on that mountain was I broke and I asked for help. And when I was coming back down the mountain, again, overwhelming sense of peace, that I had plenty of time, that I didn't need to worry about rushing back down. I'd also, even though there was snow on the ground, it was very cold. I remember I had like taken off my gloves and my hat. Like I was so warm and I didn't know where they
Wow.
were. But as I was going back down the mountain, again, it was like, just trust. Just trust that you're taking the next right step. And I found everything I had discarded. And then I had this sense of like there's a gift for me somewhere. And that's when I noticed this string that was tied around all these different trees. And I followed the string and it landed at this rock. It looks like a parallelogram. It almost looks like maybe it was a hand, like a tool. I don't know, because this is Cherokee land, and my great great grandmother was Cherokee, so I don't know. Like, I don't know the ancestral stuff, but that was supposed to be my rock, and it gave me it rooted me down and grounded me in a way that I'd never felt grounded before. Of like, I've had an experience with the divine, but also I'm earthly. Like this is
Right.
that's heavy, that grounds you into where you are, because like I'm meant to be here. There's a purpose for my life, like everybody's life. And then at the bottom there was this family of deer,
Oh
and they
my
just
God.
stood there so majestically and just stared at me like we just I've and I have a cat and she's right here. She's my familiar. I have a dog. Like I had never truly understood. I didn't understand my own consciousness, but once I did, then I could understand the consciousness of animals. And I've always felt very connected to animals, but not in this way. It's like a new elevated sense of like what consciousness is. And not just in animals, but in all the things, including, it
Everything.
sounds so silly, but like even in that rock, that rock
Yes.
of consciousness.
Yeah, you're not, Jamie. You are not blowing my mind. You're just making me remember when it happened to me,
Yes.
because the
And
same
that's
thing
why I
happened
tell
to
your
me.
story.
Yeah, go for it,
That's
baby.
why I
It's
tell
me and
it.
you are gonna be good friends. I promise you. I feel it. I already feel it.
I feel it too. It's amazing how once you've experienced it, I say it's like the zeros and ones that we're made off
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
To me, the zeros and the ones, it's like the off and the on button. You're either turned off or you're turned on. And once you're turned on, you may want to be off, because I fought it for a while, but there's no way to actually be turned off. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. And not just know it, but like to have experienced it and to feel it in your heart and soul. So that was January 4th, and that was big for me. So I felt very like empowered, and like I've always been, I don't really care about peer pressure. I go off and do my own thing. I'll go read a book. I don't care about peer pressure, but
Yeah.
I really don't. But
That's me too.
yeah, but as far as like doing what I'm supposed to do, I always did what I was supposed to do. So and I really didn't do the things I wasn't supposed to. So for me to like speak up for myself was very difficult. I had a childhood where I would say I was quite precocious, and that gets beaten out of you after a while. And so part of this has been finding that part of me again. But
Oh yeah. Wow.
so, so
You were saying so many things that are just resonating
I
with
think will
me, and
resonate
yeah.
with you and with a lot of your listeners, probably. That's why everything I do, I feel like I'm led to just, the next right experience. So I'm not even sure, honestly. I mean, I found you on Reddit, but I don't know. Like, anyway, so.
Yeah, you don't know me from a hole in the wall. Of course not.
But here I am telling you my deepest, darkest
Yeah,
secrets.
telling me you're, yeah.
Tell me everything. And
Yeah.
so 2 days later, I still hadn't left. I hadn't done the thing I was supposed to do, which was I was supposed to leave. And I'm laying in the bed. And when I tell you what I'm about to tell you next, I'm telling it now. I have the words to explain what was happening. I did not know what was happening to me when this was
Okay.
happening.
Okay.
So, do you know what a Kundalini awakening is? Have you heard of that?
I have heard of it. Yes.
Okay. So, what happened to me, and I call it a Kundalini awakening. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm laying in the bed, and all of a sudden, my whole body starts to vibrate, and it's just like my entire. And I have had a panic attack, maybe 15, 20 years ago. This is not that. A panic attack was very different. It was like my heart rate started to accelerate. Like you can, now that I have experienced that, I know what that, maybe that's why I
Mm-hmm.
experienced it, because I know the difference. This was very different. This was from the inside. And it was like, and I didn't even know, I mean, I had done like yoga for exercise, but I wasn't like into like trying to induce any of this. So it was, like this, like my chakras vibrated into place, and it all of a sudden it was like this energy from the earth was like whoosh, like up and like shaking it all up, and then it like shook into place, and all of a sudden it was like this divine light just went whoosh, right through my body. And so I know now it was a soul braid. That's what it's called.
That's what they
That's what
call it.
happened
Okay.
at first. So I don't. So Jamie 1, my soul, was in
Mm-hmm.
this body. Jamie 2 is like the new soul, braided with that soul. And so very clearly, and I kind of go back and forth between points of view of like Jamie 1, Jamie 2. So it could be a little
Sure.
confusing and
Mm-hmm.
ask to clarify at any point. But
No worries.
I felt this energy, and then the divine light just whooshed right through me. And then very clearly from this side. And besides like being anxious and sad, I've never had any kind of like mental issues other than I do have ADHD, but that's hyperfocus. So I can read a book like nobody's really that. It helps when you read English papers all day long. So I very clearly from this side heard a voice, and the voice said, "Tick tock, get up and go. Now's your chance. But you have to get up and you have to get up and you have to go. But this is it. And very clearly, because I hesitated. Jamie 1 by herself would never have gotten up out of that bed. But Jamie 2 was also inside of me. And so it was almost as if like part of me took a back seat. It was along for the ride. But very clearly it was like, we have made, sounds so fucking crazy. We have made, we have essentially like torn apart the fabric of space and time.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to step through the portal. Like you will be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived out in the mountains. There was hundreds of acres between us and anyone else. The only thing there was that I knew, across the street, there was a church, teeny tiny little mountain church. You know, this is a mountain holler way back in the Appalachian Mountains, like an hour from Asheville, not near any kind of city at all. And the voice very clearly said, get up and go. All you have to do is get to the church and you'll be safe. And I did. And January 6th, 2022 is the day of Epiphany. I don't know whose epiphany, but it was my epiphany that night, because that's when I knew that I experienced God. Not just like experience, like commune with God, but had God like within me, like experienced Christ consciousness. And so as I just got up and ran, and I was in my pajamas, I had no shoes on. He was in the bed beside me. He was like, what's going on? You know, he was worried about me. And he chased me to like down the long driveway, and way taller than me. I'm pretty short. He's really tall, but I was running for my life. And I say that kind of hyperbolically, but running really fast.
Your English teacher chops just came through with hyperbolically. Go for it.
And so the little teeny tiny church was like way up the mountain, and it's probably, I mean, even though it's across the street, it's like a mile, like total to get there. And so I remember being like really tired and thinking like, I'm not going to make it. I can't get there. It's too far. And very clearly the voice said, you just hike that big mountain. You've got this. This is no big deal. All you have to do is get to the church stairs. And I did. And I got to the steps and I turned around, and I told him that I thought he was a bad person. I told him I thought he was the devil. And he did not disagree with me, Tom.
Whoa.
And I said, if you're not the devil, this part, this is not on any of the recorded stuff that I've recorded before, I don't think. But I said, if you're not the devil, then come up on these stairs with me. And he refused.
Whoa.
And I know. And then I said, and again, I'm not like church going, but I felt like the Christ consciousness was inside of me. And I said, all I knew to say, I just put my hand out and I said, I forsake thee, devil, 3 times. And he left. He did. He left. And so this little church had its lights on, and I was really scared. I didn't know what to do. It was probably at 8:30 at night. And so I was banging on the church doors, really tall church doors. And very clearly the voice said, we have a key for you. Just look up. And up above the door, there was a key on a key fob. And I'm left-handed. I jumped up, took one jump, let myself in. I went to the bathroom. I got some water, rang the bell for freedom. I got a mint. And then I decided that I was going to enter into the church. I was like in the little, whatever you call the little entryway. But I stepped over the threshold into the actual sanctuary. And there was a Christmas tree there because it was the day of Epiphany. And there was the wreath with all the, the Advent candles.
Yes, with the 4 candles, yes.
Brand new candles. I lit the candles. I plugged in the Christmas tree. And then I went over to the piano and I started playing Christmas music. And I was just with God. I mean, and I was in there for a while. And then, I didn't have a plan, but I was supposed to be in there. And then I heard noises. And I thought it was him coming in. And so I grabbed 2 candles, like I was going to fight him off. And he's not the one who came in. three, no, I'm sorry, when I say three, 7 police officers came in. There, I don't know how they knew that I was in the church. I don't know if there was an alarm that I tripped. I don't know if he called the police. I have no idea. But they came into the church, and the first thing they did was blow out my candles. And I was really disappointed by that. I was like, that didn't even work. It's like,
where's asthma when you need it, right?
yeah, right. Well, wait a second. That was how I was going to defend. And then so there were 7 officers that came in and accused me of breaking and entering, and I explained that I was seeking refuge in the church, and they did not care. And I thought those were the magic words. I thought I could say, I am seeking refuge in this place, and they would have to like stand down, but apparently that's not true. And so I refused to leave because I was so terrified. And I couldn't get them to like listen to me. And also, when I tell this part of the story, it sounds really horrible, but it also had to happen this way because the soul braid is just, it's impossible to live like that, or at least for me. So they asked me to leave, and I wouldn't leave. And then it was just very contentious, and I thought, oh my God, they're gonna like shoot and kill me in this church. I was freaking out, and they wouldn't listen to me, and I didn't want to leave because I was afraid of the man that was outside of the church, but I didn't want to tell them that because I still felt like I should protect him. And so anyway, they arrested me, they tackled me, and carried me out. I know, it was so sad.
No, what's the necessary police officer? You're. I mean, don't take it the wrong way, but you're a woman. You can just go get you. I mean, why you got to tackle you? I don't understand that part.
It was so weird. I've never been treated the way they treated me. People are generally quite nice to me, and I could not make them understand what I was doing there. But the only thing I can say is it's because it was supernatural. Like, this is just beyond like the earthly realm what happened, because it gets even weirder. So there was an ambulance, but instead of the ambulance, they had, because it was a sheriff's department, and they didn't have regular sheriff's cars or whatever. They had this like giant black tinted out windows, like F-350 or like some giant truck, and
Okay,
that's what they put
now
me
you got
in.
my spidey senses tingling.
Well, me too, because now I'm like, oh my God, are they gonna like taking me off to murder me? They hate me so much, whatever. So they don't put me in the ambulance. They put me in the back of their king cab truck. And when they did it, they like threw me in upside down. And so my head was in the floorboard and my legs are up in the air. And this is my head. My neck is like this. So I'm like this upside down with my hands in handcuffs. And it was effective.
So you can't get up.
I stopped screaming because I was more like, I did not want to leave the church. I was like fighting it and screaming like, no, 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 no. So I think what they were going to do is they'll make me be quiet for a minute. So they turned me upside down, and my legs are up in the air, and my hands are behind me, and there's no way to move. All my weight is just crushing my neck. And I of course started thinking about my children. And I'm like, it's not going to make any sense. My mom died in the back of a king cab truck. Like, I've never been arrested before. I've had like one speeding ticket. Like, I never get in trouble. And they're not going to understand this at all. It will not make sense. It's going to be really horrible, and it will impact the rest of their lives. And then I thought, well, I guess before I had that thought, I didn't even want to admit at first that like this might be the end of me. And then I realized that no, I don't think anybody's going to help. And that's when I started worrying about my children. And then all of a sudden, it was just the most beautiful sense of calm and love and peace. And I just knew, like, it was like a whispering, but there were no words, but it was like, if you imagine, like, maybe like a pregnant woman, like whispering sweet things to her baby. Like, you can't really make out the
Okay.
words, but the love transfers, with the vibrations.
Yes.
That's how it felt.
I remember.
And I
I
knew that,
remember a very specific
yeah,
song that my ex-wife used to. She used to hum. I can't remember it, but she
yeah,
used to hum a
yeah,
certain thing over
yeah.
and over and over again. And I said, "Why are you doing that?" She says, "I don't know." So yes, I understand.
Yeah. And I bet, like, if you hummed that again, it would. So it just felt like that. I felt
Have vibration.
cradled, you know? And then I just realized, I was like, oh, it's actually way better on the other side. And I was very much comforted. Like, everything is going to be fine. Your kids will be fine. It's okay to let go. And I consciously breathed out my last breath, because it was just very shallow. And I knew I would not be able to take a deep breath. So I knew if
Uh
I
huh.
breathed it all out, that would be the end. And it was. I transitioned over, and I was with God and angels
Whoa.
for a bit.
All right,
It's
I'm with you, Jamie. Jamie, you're not. I just, everybody's story is different, and everybody has their. It's just, it always, it's always extremely intriguing, which is the reason why I do this to begin with. And thank you so much for sharing. It's amazing.
yeah. It was like everything and nothing all at the same time. I had every question answered, except I also had zero questions. And I always thought, well, when I get to heaven, I'd ask, who killed John Benet Ramsey? And then you get up there and you realize none of that matters, you know? Like, I need to know. But that's just my earthly
All
self.
right.
That, like,
While you're in there
it's
next time, ask him about Elvis while you're at it. Just for me, just for your
it
friend
doesn't
Tom.
matter. None of that matters when you're on the other side. It's like a TikTok kind of thing. And so what happened was, for me, I had Jamie 1 and Jamie 2 was inside this body. And so the near death experience allowed both souls to return to God and heaven and that realm that is my home outside of this place. And Jamie 1, it was her turn to, like, have a little rest and my time to come in. It's kind of like a two-player game, where you, like, sub in.
Mm-hmm.
Sub
Like
in.
tag team kind of wrestling match.
Tag teamed. Exactly. And so coming back into the body, the parting message from God was, being human is really hard. And holy fucking hell, is it really hard here, Tom? It's
It can be,
not.
babe. It can be.
It's not, especially when, like, for me, I'm 48, so I was 46 at the time. So, like, being born into this already adult body, it's a very different experience from being born as into a baby's body.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that's yeah. So it's normal to be born into a body, right? We're all immortal souls. It's just most of us get born as a baby. I just happen to be born into an adult body. But this is happening more and more because we are very close to the majority of people, I think, having like an awakening. And so I think that there's just a need for new souls in these bodies full of time and wisdom, knowledge, beauty in that way.
Wow.
And yeah, and so I'm able to come in. I'm still high vibrational because I haven't had to go through puberty and being a teenager and all those really horrible, awful things. I've come in with my own sovereignty, my own autonomy, and I'm having to figure stuff out down here, you know, like finding an apartment, getting I had to get another car, like doing like those things, that are just, ugh, so boring.
Well, been there.
Necessary here. Like cooking.
Doing it. I'm doing it all over again myself. I'm
Like,
with
you
you,
have to,
Jamie.
like,
We're on the same
grocery
journey.
store shop all the time. It's just a lot down here, but there's a lot that we are doing in addition to that. And I think part of why I'm here is to, and probably why you're here and other people who are drawn to podcasts such as these, is we are here for a purpose, but also that this is not our forever home. Like, we're here on a mission, and then we get to go back. And then we're also here because we chose to be here, which I
Yes.
think is really beautiful. And we chose the circumstances that we would be born
Yes.
into because we knew that's what our soul needed in order to learn and grow. It's like lifting
Hmm.
weight. If you're
Right, but
trying to
not knowing,
have
and when you
small,
but when you come, you don't remember that you chose, and
exactly.
that's
That's why it's so hard.
but you knew that when you did choose, which is
Exactly.
right, which is crazy. Yeah.
And I still
Wow.
have the perspective of thinking it would be easy when I got here. Because God said it would be, it's really hard being human. And you know what I said? I said, this is fun. I got this. This is no big deal. It cannot be harder. Mm-mm. I got all this. It's really hard. I am humbled by what it means to be
Right.
human.
I find it to be very interesting that you would you consider yourself to be a Christian? That's a question I wanted to ask.
That's such a great question. So that night on the church steps, there was a moment when I was talking to God when I embodied what I would say was the energy of the Christ consciousness,
Right.
which I think we're all able to elevate to that. And my gosh, I'm so grateful that I had that experience. And so I think that, like, I mean, I love Jesus, but I also love like all of it. Like, for me, I was born into a Christian home. Like, that
Yeah.
would have been what I always identified with. I'm a Southern lady, but it's all, to me, it's all like different sides of the same coin. We're all just trying to make, with these very limited human brains that we have, to perceive and understand and then put into words what it
Hmm.
means to experience the divine. And I think Jesus is divine. I think we're all divine also. And I think Jesus just knew how to tap
Yes.
into that.
Do you believe maybe we are all God trying to experience themselves subjectively? Exactly. And the reason you're using, if I may, words like Christ and Kundalini, and you're talking about reincarnation, it's not because you choose to use those words. You're using them so they make sense to the people who are listening to this now, because that's the only way maybe you can connect the concept and the experience that you went through.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know you. I know who you
It's like a
are.
funnel, it's
Yeah,
this vastness, and you're trying to funnel it down, and you have just these teeny tiny words trying to explain this
because
vastness.
because language itself is kind of a funneling mechanism into which we
Exactly.
try to make sense of the world, but it
Yes.
really sometimes can be a bit of a barrier.
It could be very
Um,
limiting.
right. So yeah, I experienced the same thing too. I was going through a lot of depression, a lot of it, very heavy, and I started trying to meditate.
Mhm,
And I would go into the woods behind my house in Germany.
mhm,
And this one day, it was very cold too. I don't remember
mhm.
what day it was, February or something like this, 2018, 19, something like that. I
Yeah.
went into this spot where no one can find me because, Germany's still a lot of people, but it's pretty wooded, but it's still, well visited. And I
Mhm.
just remember seeing the sun was setting,
Yeah.
and I just felt this incredible warmth and vibration, and like oh, I got it. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is, but it was like everything just made sense. And then I
You
went
turned
back and
on.
went back, ate a pizza, and forgot everything again. But whatever, I don't remember. But that's the thing, and I keep tripping over it. There's also been times where I'm driving my car, and one in particular, I was listening to a Tool song called "Intention," If you ever get
Mm-hmm.
a chance to listen to it, it's a part where it
Okay.
transitions into this certain guitar part,
Okay.
and the sun was rising over the mountains, and it was just nothing but forest, and it hit me again, and just tears rolled down my face, and I got there it is again. But the remembering is the fun part, and the forgetting is also the fun part, because
Yeah.
if you don't forget, you don't get a chance to remember again.
So
But it
true.
keeps coming back. I had an experience too, because I am the same. Forever I was like, a very atheist is what I called myself from like the age of say 17 till my daughter was born, and when I was 36. And I seen her eyes, and I was like, yeah, there's something more. But
Yeah.
it was kind of ramping itself in that direction anyway. But it's when it comes, I think it's you're ready for it, and it wasn't like I needed it. It just was. You know what I mean? It was just
I
like
do.
I understand now, and I'm okay. And like I always tell people, I don't know who. I think it was Mother Teresa. Honestly, you can't do big things, but you can do little things with big love. And I try to do that with everybody.
Yeah.
And I consider myself, like when I'm here in Mexico, like an ambassador
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
Because people have this certain concept of an American, but when I see little kids,
Yeah.
they've never seen a white person before with blue eyes. A lot of people
Really.
have, all the time, and they'll just stare at me, and I'll just go up and,
Mm-hmm.
I speak a little Spanish, of course, but I'll just say in English, hello, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, hola, ¿cómo estás? How
Oh.
are you? And ¿qué haces? What are you doing? Mi nombre es Thomas. My name is Thomas. And hey, and then like, what do you? Oh, you're playing baseball, or hey, hey, let's throw the ball around. And it's
Yeah.
just things like that. It's kind of a karma thing. See, once again, I'm using words
Yeah.
to try to make people understand,
It's
but
all
it's
about
just like
energy. Yeah. You're
what you
putting
put out is
out
what you
good
get back.
energy to receive good energy. Yeah.
But it's not for self righteous purpose. It's just the right thing to do, because it is the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, you're putting out energy all the time anyway.
True.
So to me is the awareness of what am I putting out. And the great
Okay.
thing is I've been moving into like being more receptive because I was always the one like running around doing all the things for everyone. Is that
Right.
actually all the good, the receiving is also really wonderful to receive the good
hmm
energy in return.
And listening too.
Yes,
Listening is
exactly.
so important.
Yes, and listening is giving also.
It's
Like it's
true.
your, the I
A life of
so
service is like the highest form you can be, to help others, to serve
yes,
others,
exactly.
things of that nature. It's just, yeah, man. And what you were saying about everyone kind of waking up, I
Yeah.
don't know, man, but I agree with that too. I think they said the Mayan calendar, because I'm down here, my girlfriend's Mayan. and
Your girlfriend's what?
um, Mayan,
Oh,
Mayan.
nice.
Yeah,
Really? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Very, very beautiful. and yes, and like the calendar, they say it was the end of some large cycle, and I
Okay.
think they said then the world ended. It was supposed to end. I think it did. I
In
think because
2012. Yeah.
you're 48. I'm 44. So you were
Okay.
born in 76,
75.
75. I was born in
Mhm.
80.
November.
Um, and so between say the mid 70s, the time that whenever we became conscious of our own reality or our own existence,
Mhm.
until say I would say September 11th, 2001,
Mhm.
there was a sing song that we all just played to. And then that particular thing just put a snap into my mind. I was in
Yeah.
the military at the time, and I was
Mhm.
like, something's wrong. It was a very scary time, a very time of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Then there's a ton of other things that happened in between. And then there was a point at which I went, oh man, there is a true evil in this world. So the more you
Mhm.
get into spirituality, the more you get into uh, conspiracies, the more you realize it's a battle between good versus evil. And I truly believe there's some type of evil in this world.
I agree.
Um, I don't know. I think its purpose is self-serving, which is in itself evil. It wants to serve itself by using others, however
See,
that is.
I have a weird. Okay,
Go for it.
so if I go out with and walk down the street with my dog, I'll probably kill 500 ants as I'm walking. So to the ants, I'm evil, but for me, I'm
Mm.
just existing. So sometimes I think that maybe some of what we're running into is just a different species, and maybe they're just stepping on us and don't
They're
really
just stepping on ants. Yeah.
meaning to. We're just insignificant compared to them.
I don't
I
know.
don't
So
know.
are you referring to like this what we would consider evil? Or are you referring to the UFO phenomenon? What are you
I think it
referring
all
to?
intersects. I think
Okay.
it's all
Very
the
good.
same. Also, I think I have this running theory that like the matrix is just being powered by us and whatever
Hmm.
collectively we've decided is truth.
Yes.
Kind of
Do you
like
like to see?
Ghostbusters.
Do you
You
also
remember
notice now? Say it again. I'm
what?
sorry.
The Stay
No,
Puft
please.
Marshmallow Man and
Yeah,
Ghostbusters.
man. I'm that age.
Remember?
I watch it.
That's what that the first thing they thought of is what was evil. And so it's almost like collectively we are deciding to believe in different things, and so it seems like the more we believe in stuff together,
Yeah.
the more true it is.
Yeah, it's like what do they call it? The Tolbert? I think it's a Tolbert. It's like the more you believe in Bigfoot, the more you believe in werewolves, the
Yes,
more you believe in
the
goblins,
more you
the
look
more
for
true
it,
it
the more you'll
is.
find it.
Right.
Yes,
I've heard of
that
that as well.
because it's we're dealing with infinity here, so the more you're looking for
Mm.
something, the more you find it. So for me personally, when I start thinking about evil and talking about evil, I actually now, Jamie too, I try to cut it off pretty fast. I don't read scary stuff. I used to love like true crime and stuff. I don't pay attention to that. And it's not that I don't want to pay attention to it. It's just that I don't want to feed it with my energy.
Well, diet is not only what you eat.
Yeah,
Diet is
that's so
not what you eat. If it's not good
true.
for you, it's not good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm thinking more, not just that it's not good for me, but it's not good for the collective. Like if we could all just start
Mm.
turning off our
That's
addiction
what they're
to,
doing. You do know that they are tainting our collective unconsciousness with all
yes,
this,
with the fear.
whatever. I don't know your political. It's not important, but Biden is this and Trump is that, and you don't like him, and
I would say I'm
there's.
independent because I don't like anything that separates us from one another.
Thank you,
I'm just humanity.
Jamie. Whenever I get to North Carolina and I meet up with George Lunsford, I'm going to swing by your house, and I don't know if whatever you do, if you play
Well,
frisbee golf or
I'll
have
just
a
go with
beer.
you guys because I am kind of magical. Shit just follows me everywhere all the
Okay,
time.
all right.
Like,
Let's get into
yeah.
that because you say you were reborn. We went philosophical there
Yeah.
for a while. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So you were
Yeah.
reborn as Jamie too, and now, I mean, once again, it's just a
Now I have all
wording.
this like psychic medium abilities now. I just do. I know things all the time that I shouldn't know, and I don't know how I know them. Like
Okay.
I know before the phone rings if it's going to be bad news. Like the other day, my friend called and I was taking a nap. Highly recommend naps. And I
Oh yeah,
called
when you get
back
to our age.
and I was like, "Are you okay? Is something wrong?" I was like, "This is not good." And she's like, "No, I'm fine." And she hung up, called me back a little bit, and she's like, "Oh my god, our friend Christy, her cat just passed away," and that had just happened. And like probably as I was telling her, like, "Is there bad news?" So just things like that happen all the time, but I do want to go back to one thing. So being human is really hard. I did because I am magical and I tend to attract these wild, crazy things that happen that are fun. And I say yes to the universe because I feel like I'm here, one, to help people, but also to have these experiences, to experience what it is to be human. And so I went on a midnight hike kind of thing for like a full moon and met this guy who's a plant healer, Reiki healer, and
Okay.
we did Reiki session. And then he was like, "I think you're ready." And he was like, "The entities are telling me you're ready." So I smoked DMT. And
No way.
I did. I went from doing
Oh
nothing
my.
to smoking DMT.
All right. Tell me about
And
that experience.
oh, wow. Okay. So the first thing that happened was I could see sacred geometry and everything. So instead of everything being pixelated, it was like these 3D gorgeous, beautiful shapes that make up a reality. So beautiful in these colors. And I could close my eyes and I could see everything, or open. It didn't matter if I had my eye closed. Like my third eye was so
Wow.
completely open. It was wild. And then the entities came down and did heart surgery on me, like childhood this body had experienced, because the body keeps the score. I don't know if you read that book or heard of that book, but it's
No.
good to read, especially if you were ex-military. You would really resonate with it. But it's about how stress and trauma state is like withheld in the body. And so that's why like PTSD is even a thing. Like it gets trapped in our bodies, and it's a
Oh
very
yeah.
scientific approach to it. And it's written by doctors. So the body keeps the score. And so that was the first thing they did. They came down and did the heart surgery on me to repair my heart, like the emotional damage.
Like a
And
broken
then
heart, yes.
the brokenheartedness from like
Hmm.
just abandonment and neglect as a child. And also, I don't feel like I'm 48. I feel like I'm 25. So they came down, like they just like cleansed everything, did the heart surgery, and then I went down like the portal and was spit out into the waiting room. There was this beautiful like purple velvet sofa, but I didn't have to wait. There was like a curtain, almost kind of like the Wizard of Oz, and I got to get behind the curtain and be with the entities who were my family. And they were like, "Welcome home. We're so glad you're back."
And you
And
can
I was
remember
like,
it? You
"Huh?
know, because I've heard it's very difficult to remember.
Oh no, I remember all of this stuff."
Wow.
No, this is the gift they gave me so that I would remember clearly who I was and who I am. And it was very much a welcoming home of like, "Are you okay?" They're like, essentially, we've given you this opportunity to check in with us and let us know, "Are you okay? Are you doing okay down there?" And then I was, I mean, it's hard down here. And the message that I returned with, because it's over very quickly, was yeah, being human is hard, but it's also a lot of fun. Because in these bodies, we get to fall in love and make love and eat good food and listen to great music and dance and
Reproduce
make our
wonderful
bodies.
children.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, all these beautiful experiences, to be
Right.
human and to limit ourselves. That's the beauty, is that we only have five senses, that we can develop our sixth sense, of course. But really the beauty is that we only have five, and what can we do with that? It's like, here's a
Right.
lump of clay. Go see what you can do with it. We're going to give you, here's the cast of characters. This is your character. Here's your lump of clay. See what you can do with it.
Right.
So anyway,
Right.
then I got pushed back. And so that's what I've been doing, is working with my lump of clay and the karmic debts that I inherited by incarnating in this body and trying to figure stuff out. And I was kind of ashamed of it at first. I didn't really understand what was going on. My kids knew something was really different about me. I read a book series, and there was a character who incarnated as a walk-in. And when I read it, it was about 6 months after the near-death experience. I realized, like, oh my God, that's what's going on here. This now
Okay.
I have
What is a
words.
walk-in exactly? What is that? What
So
does
a
it mean?
walk-in is like a soul swap, basically.
Okay.
A soul swap during a near-death experience.
So it's kind of
And
like what a
mhm.
maybe singularly speaking is what a Christian would consider as being reborn.
Yeah, but like, there's the rebirth that happens with a near-death experience, but you're still the same person as before.
Hmm.
Like, I'm completely different from, I'm not the same soul as before. So like,
Okay.
I can't cook the same things. I am very youthful. I'm a go out and do everything kind of girl. I love to hike and go to the gym now. Like, my personality is just completely different. And I
Wow.
thought I was doing a good job of hiding it, because I actually didn't think it was pertinent for anyone to know that information. But mainly because I didn't want my kids to think of me in a different way, because that really upset me, because I know that was so important to Jamie, one, that our kids were taking really good care of. And so, but my daughter came to me in October, and she said, "Mom, I need to talk to you. I have had to mourn the woman that you were." and I don't know
Whoa.
what's going on.
That's
So
heavy.
I had to
So
tell her.
so you trudged and drug yourself through the mud of hell to come out the other side as a
Mhm.
different person. But you still have the memories of the first person.
Yeah, it's like because the body keeps the score, I still have the karmic debts that were
Hmm.
created. Like when you enter into the life story of someone, it's, like reading a book and you jump in halfway.
Hmm.
You still you are that character. So it's like I mean, we're all immortal souls. We're just drops of rain from the source that is, all water.
Also found it to be very interesting what you said that the portal opened in front of you and God spoke to you and said that you had to walk through it. And if you
Yeah.
know Terrence McKenna, who is one of my favorite like
Yes, I do know him.
linguistic orators of all time,
Yeah.
said that the universe rewards bravery. That
Oh,
he said that the universe rewards bravery or rewards like doing
yeah,
things that are difficult. And
yeah.
I am scared to death of DMT. I am a I like to meditate and smoke cannabis because it's a female entity,
Mhm.
absolutely 100% connecting with the plants, connecting with nature. I like to listen to really heavy psychedelic doom metal, but it talks about life and expansion of consciousness in the universe and all one with God, and we are a drop in the ocean of everything. And that's the music I really love. If you read and listen to the lyrics, turn out the lights, close your eyes, get a nice set of headphones on, take a nice 2 or 3 hits of a good joint, and just be in that space is where it's not where I found God. It's not where he or she or it, I would say it is the best way I guess you can describe it, touched me to let me know that, hey, you're not alone. But it's where I commune and reconnect to it, but on my own terms. And I
Yeah.
think to do DMT alone, when you said it, you just meet some random person. It's guys can be very. I mean, the mere fact that women. It's kind of a Louis C.K. joke. I do a lot of stand up as well. He's like, the mere fact that women would come into a car with us to go on a date is incredible. It's like, where are we going? Well, to your eventual demise, I suppose.
Interesting
But
thought.
for you to do that, saying, I'm on a journey of my own, and you meet this Kundalini person. I've actually no, excuse me. You said Reiki.
Plant
I've
medicine.
met. I read a Reiki master on the beach here in Mexico, a French dude. He's like, I'm into Reiki, and he's out there picking up glass off the beach every time he comes. And oh, look, this is where the turtles went up the beach, and I'm talking to this guy. But then you're like, oh, I'm going to be really brave and smoke DMT. I
All right.
know who you are. You're a warrior of life. You know what I mean? That's incredible.
Well, a couple of things. One is that Earth is more intense than I realized. And I'm also divinely protected at all times. Like I know I have my guardian angels with me. I will say that now I know that if a man offers you a free Reiki session and then free DMT, there might be a reason why. He might want something in return.
Of
Like I
course.
know that now.
You should have known that before. You're what, at 46 at the time. You'd have to know
No,
that
but
after being around.
Tom, I'm Jamie too. I see what like
I'm
even though
sorry. I
you see
missed
what
it.
I'm
I'm so
saying?
sorry.
No, it's okay, but that's exactly it. Like you would think at 46 years old, I would know better, but I didn't know any better because even though Jamie one had all these memories, she
Mhm.
was also married for a long time. I had not really dated that much. So, like, all these experiences were really brand new for me. I didn't
Right.
know
But
the
now
man.
Jamie too knows if you walk in the moonlight and run into a guy, make sure you carry nunchucks with you. I got you.
I know. And I
Yeah.
didn't even know. Like, I didn't realize. I was, gosh,
I'm not one to pat myself on
nervous.
the back. I really not, but my girlfriend tells me she's because a lot of men down here are just I don't know what it is. There's a lot of drinking. There's a lot of physical violence here. There's a lot of like bravado, machismos, Mexican machismo comes from Mexico. Like, and
Yeah.
she's like, you are so different. She doesn't even know how to deal with it. She's just like, always telling me where she is. Yeah, you don't need to tell me where you are. Just be, I only want to know if you say you're leaving somewhere, that's fine. That way I know when I expect you here that nothing happened to you because that's
Yeah,
part of what I
exactly.
am.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if a man offers you DMT in the woods, be careful, Jamie. You can't be doing that kind
But
of
then,
thing.
okay, well, it's even worse. It wasn't the woods; it was his home.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he's not going to have it on him in the woods, which would be really weird, but
I
I'm
know
sure
it was
he's
really dumb. It was so dumb, but it all worked out fine. It did
good.
because everything just works out in my favor. I don't know. Well, I do know what it is, but I'm
Well, you
really
got a
lucky.
little lucky. You got to, let's be honest with you, there's luck in it. I know you think that's, you can, maybe you are divinely protected. I would never expound you. Is that the right word? Am I using the right word, English teacher? Expound you of your feelings, your actions, your belief in which you hold to be true. But looking at it from this point of view, you got a bit lucky. Maybe he was a bit of a creep, but at the same time, he wasn't too creepy. But I don't know the whole nine. You don't need to
Well,
explain the whole nine. This is not. This is not. I'm not Chuck Woolery to bring it back to the '80s again.
no, what he did was he goes, I'm starting this cult like thing, and I think you'd be great.
Oh God,
And I was like, oh no.
I
So
ran
that's
across that
why I
too.
got out of there
A
so
friend of
fast.
mine, she was dating this dude. I met her through my buddy. She's also now my friend, and she was dating a dude, and she had to like run to Guatemala to get away from him. And that's where she met my friend slash boss that I work for. He's from Holland, so they don't believe in any of that crazy stuff. They come back, they got all these like warrants against him, all his ex girlfriends, and then I like another friend of mine said, "Hey, I got this job that you can work for because I'm a welder, and we can do like this roof or outdoor roof thing." I was like, "Okay, let's go check it out." I meet this guy, skinny dude. I don't know who this person is. Skinny dude with a turban. His girlfriend, now I know it's his wife, turban on the head, and it's like a compound. And I'm in there, and they're like, he's really weird. He's like, go ahead and speak to him. He speaks Spanish, and he spoke English with me, but it forced her to speak Spanish with me. I
Really?
leave up out of there. I talk to my buddy. I go, hey man, when it comes to like, like I've never like had to like judge how much to for the job, materials, time, work, all those kind of
Yeah.
things. He's like, I'll give you a hand. And he goes, where is it? Oh, it's over here. And this is some weird dude, skinny dude with a turban. He goes, is his name so and so? And I go, yeah. He goes, when I see him, I'm gonna beat the crap out of that guy. And I was like, oh my. So I said, you know what? You're my friend, and anything will never come between us. And I just dropped the
Yeah.
whole job.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of dudes like that there who are trying to start their own cults because we know what they
Yeah.
like to do with the cults. The cults,
Yeah.
like cults, they, for the
For
most
a lot of
part,
women, I think.
yeah, it's
Turns
weirdness.
out I think it's all
Yeah,
about sex all the time. That's what I've
it,
figured out about down here.
yeah. I mean, and that's not how you're supposed to go about it. If you like someone, just be fucking genuine. And for the most part, people enjoy that experience because, you
It's
know,
weird.
um,
Yeah. It's hard. A man who says he wants to be your friend turns out.
just be
Anyway,
honest with a woman. For all the men out there, if you're going to date any woman, just be honest with her. Tell her your intentions first. I like you. I think you're attractive, and I'd like to take you
that
out on a
would be
date.
so nice. That
Wouldn't
would
that
be
be
really
interesting?
nice because while I'm pretty psychic and medium or whatever for other people, I'm really shitty when it comes to knowing how anyone feels about me. That I don't know, but I
Sorry.
can tell you all sorts of other
Oh,
things about everything else.
I can imagine. Okay, before I get you up out of here, what's next for you, Jamie? What is your, for lack of a better term, next evolutionary step in your process? What do you think? What is it that you would want to get into or try to do more of?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for asking that question. So a few months ago, I answered a call on Reddit for a co-host for a podcast. So I co-host a podcast called The Secret Society of Strangers, and we invite guests on who've had any sort of like anomalous experience. And so, and Tom, it
Okay.
sounds like you might You'd be a really great guest for our show.
I would love to come on your podcast.
I would love to have you on our podcast.
I would love to come on. Absolutely.
Okay. Also, I will send you an email after this and get you booked because I also handle the book.
Don't invite me to a good time because I will come.
That sounds really fun. And so we've all these amazing people have been on our show, and so that's really exciting to connect with other people, an astrologer, a shaman. I hope to get another N.D.E or another walk-in, like all these different experiences. And what I found is that just the more I tell my story, the more that I just embrace authentically who I am and know who I am and the gifts that I bring to the table because of my experience, the happier I am, honestly, and I think I make other people happy. So I've done some YouTube videos with a friend here in Asheville. He was actually the person I came out to as a walk-in, and I've met other walk-ins, and so I just hope that I can continue talking to people and sharing my story. And if anyone is listening and you feel like you're a walk-in, please contact me. I've got the website that's to book time with me, or you can send you an email or whatever. I don't really have social media other than that, but people were asking me questions on the YouTube video and I didn't have a way to answer people. And
just one more time. What's your website one more time, Jamie?
JamieTheWalkin.com. So
JamieTheWalkin.com.
TheWalkin.com. So
Wow.
yeah, and I'll have the link to my podcast and a couple of videos about me. And
send me all your links. That way, people, when they hear and listen to this, that they can connect to you, and if they have any questions, you can do for it.
I will do that for sure.
And the only bit of advice that I might be able to give you, I am younger than you, is to spiral out, and keep going, and try to really enjoy this rendition of this consciousness that you have now endowed upon yourself, or God has endowed upon you. Just go out there into the expanse of the universe and do not be afraid. There are no barriers. It's all in your mind.
That's awesome advice. I feel like I really needed that today in my heart.
I needed it today to listen to you. Somebody goes, I had an experience with God on top of a mountain. I was like, wait a minute, that's happened to me as well, but not on a mountain, but in the forest. Yeah. Jamie, thank you. I'm definitely coming on. Just write me an email and I will contact you and I will make a date. I promise. Well, absolutely. We'll make sure we get it done. Thank you so much for coming on the iJupiter podcast. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Now wait in the green room for me because I got to make sure all these recordings went through. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Well, so that was Jamie, and that was an incredible podcast. I think that was one of the best ones I've had. It's very rare that you get to meet and connect with somebody. There was somebody else that I connected to, my buddy, Magical Journey. I'm going to have him on again. Hopefully this time the audio will be a lot better. He's also incredible. I'd like to have him on and maybe Jamie on at the same time and have a roundtable discussion about things. He's a green witch who really gets into consciousness and connecting with Earth and all those kind of things. And then you have someone like Jamie who's had her N.D.E and her Christ conscious experience and all the things that have changed in her life. I love listening to people's experiences and I love connecting with them on the human level, just as the reason why I do this podcast to begin with. And if you do enjoy my content, do me a favor and, subscribe and like to the channel. And, I'll do my best to make sure that, more people and more, entities and consciousnesses come and connect together. And we're not only going to do ghost and paranormal, which I enjoy because those are always, because of experiences I've had. Our UFOs and our cryptids and all those things, as well. Don't forget, to send those stories and, at the iJupiterPodcast@gmail.com. And, go over on Reddit, check me out. And, if you want to listen to me while you're working, download it from Spotify and you can listen to me as well. Thank you all very much for coming on and listening to the show today. And remember, we are the I and we are aware. I love you all. You have been listening to the Eye of Jupiter podcast. Remember, if you have any strange occurrences or stories or anything you'd like to share, please drop me an email at theeyeofjupiterpodcast@gmail.com and you'll be on the show. And remember, we are the eye and we are aware. Thank you.